But friends, I think this is the first workshop. I hope this was helpful for all of you. This was again a grand experiment. I see some nods. And thanks, mate. Of course. Yeah. Thank you all for being part of what I'm building and how I'm trying to serve my family and serve this community in this new crazy season of life. Hey, all you big brains, you're in for a treat. This is a wild webinar. We had members from all over the world chatting about how to build the lives we desire, living where you want, loving what you do, and being paid well for it. I went through my entire story of 12 relocations in order to get to Japan, as well as an exit from a decade-long career to start entrepreneurship on a platform called Skool. And we heard beautiful stories from multiple people in this group. So I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to pop in, and I'll see you on the next one. So keep changing the world. So before I even jump into the workshop, I wanted to create a little bit of space for you all to interconnect because you're all part of the Big Brain Club. So if you wanted to do some quick intros on just the essence of who you are and maybe why you're in the group, that could be cool. And then the goal for today, I have like a roadmap. Let me share my screen really quick of what we'll run through. Entire window. This one should work. Get a nice infinity mirror for a second. So we're going to go through a little bit of my story. It's like the life of Joe and who the heck I am and why I lead this community, the origin story of the Big Brain Club, a bit more context about the Find Your Next assessment, both the method and then pro tips that you can leverage to build the life you desire. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I use the 3 metrics we use in this community and why it's been helpful and valuable for me on my journey. And then we'll end with like a couple of principles that you could leverage in your own entrepreneurial ventures. Because all 3 of you are entrepreneurs, which is awesome. And it's messy to try to integrate business and parenting. So happy you're all here. But yeah, feel free. Diana, maybe do you want to start and just share a bit about yourself?
Okay, first ones might be the last ones might have to be the first ones. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think we just met occasionally on different places
Mm-hmm.
on Skool, on the platform itself, and we had some nice conversations. So I was looking just up for your space. So, and curiosity always gets me. So if it would kill the cat, I would be dead long. So yeah, that is also one of my core drivers. So like literally being curious and being exploring things. In my Find My Next, it was literally like strategists pretending to be a pathfinder or the other way around. I think you can reverse that how you want. Like how my brain works, because this brain, it's about brains. So I'm a so-called system thinker. So give me just everything, and I will try to make any sense out of it, finding patterns, connecting the dots. This is just like how I operate.
Mm-hmm. No, it's been really fun crossing paths with you and playing around in your community as well with Unfair Advantage. Like I love the way you lead your group and the way you challenge people to think a little bit differently. But it's still systemic because I did systems engineering and robotics as well. So I love the frameworks that you lead by. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's always like probably everything I do has a kind of like 2, 3 hidden layers underneath that I'll probably find out later. And if I would have told them in the first place, so that might be just like part of my learning journey. And for me, it's like I'm really open and honest always. So you can ask me everything, you will always get the answer. If you don't want answers, just don't ask. So maybe just like as a disclaimer. But it's just like those, so that play with, yeah, there's an intention underneath, and you figure it out by yourself. There's also playfulness in it that I like, and yeah, I learned I scare the people anyway, so I try to do it not in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And hey, Cassandra and Rositza, we're just doing quick intros. And I can see you're driving, Cassandra, so be safe and have fun. But Nick, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself next. We'll run through the room and then we'll jump into the workshop.
Yeah, hey guys, just Nick here. I've been on Skool a long time, but it's only been the last 15 months that I've been experimenting with communities. I run a digital marketing agency day to day and 3 kids, and just wanted to join to support what we're building here.
You left out Ultra. Why did you?
Oh,
That's not happening.
Oh, my t-shirt. I run an ultra now and again, and I've got a community called Ultra Dad, but still figuring out what the purpose is for it. I like the guys in it. We run long distances, but I think it's more about connecting with other dads, I think, than anything. So,
Yeah, and it's a tricky spot to monetize too. Is that what you're kind of working through? Is like what's free and what's paid, and how do you ascend
well,
folks?
I think I'm not even going to worry about that. I think I'm just going to build the audience and just see what happens later on. I like the guys in there, and if there's value in coming back and chatting, it's just a community. Then, if I've got an audience, you can do anything with it when it's big enough. So, yeah, I've got another project which I'm about to launch with my client. So, that will be hopefully a big launch in the next week, maybe. So, yeah.
Very exciting. And for context to the rest of the group, like I connected with Nick in Calvin Hollywood's community leadership group, and it's just been fun seeing the way that he's building with intention and the adjustments he's making in his group. Hey, Sarah, we're doing quick intros. So yeah, I'm inspired because I cap at like half a marathon. I did 20. How far did I go in a marathon? I made it 24 miles, and then they canceled it for lightning. So the farthest I've made it was almost 26.2. And then I've adjusted based on different back injuries to doing halves, but it'd be fun to build up and run an ultra at some point. I'm not in the season yet to know how to do that.
Oh, you could do it easy. It's all mental, mate.
I know I need to be stronger. So who would like to go next on intros?
I can go ahead. So just hi everybody. Cassandra, relatively new business owner, founder of WoundFit, a wound care educational platform with the intention of hopefully, growing a successful community and, maybe in the future creating some additional sources of income from that. I am trained in family medicine. Found my way to wound care through pivotal moment in during residency, and I've been enjoying the field ever since. And just trying to figure out what my next chapter looks like, as far as potentially making this more full time and something that'll help me create more freedom in my life. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And Cassandra, like I've been so intrigued by your story. This is the first time we've
Yes.
talked in real time, which is awesome. So are you a like practicing family physician then, or are you a nurse? I don't know what credentials you have.
No. I'm currently in geriatrics. Long
Okay.
story short, I was trained in family medicine and did family medicine for a little bit through different clinics. And for a little bit of time, I did solely wound care. And currently, I'm doing a mix of geriatrics and wound care. So
Excellent. Geriatrics
as
is
a physician,
like weight management?
Oh
Or
no,
sorry.
an older population, so 65
Oh, sorry.
plus.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bariatric is
It's yes, I know. Close. Close, yeah. So that's what I'm doing now. Yep.
excellent. Yeah, it's so fun. I've messed up so many medical terms and been in so many surgeries, and I still don't
There's
have
a lot. As long as you get the suffixes and prefixes down, you get like 90% of the stuff.
Excellent. Very cool. Thanks for joining, and happy to connect with you more in pro as well. It'll be fun. So Evan, you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Evan. I did data science for a CRM agency for 10 years. Now I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I'm trying my hand at entrepreneurship through gamification and life design. I like. I had a big run-in with wound care with my son's mom and had to deal with that for a long time. So it's interesting that you're doing that. And then I almost joined that dad community, but I don't run. And so I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I'm a good dad and I like other dads. So if I am welcome, then I would be happy to join.
Excellent.
That's me.
Perfect. And Rositza? I'm still working on your name. I
I
have like a
know.
90% hit rate.
Thank you. Yeah, about that much. The first time you got right. Thank you. Appreciate you. And thank you for having me here. And I'm currently running. Good to be here, by the way. Hello, everyone. I'm Ro Alexandrova. And I'm running a school community for teaching people how to play piano and also people who want to become teachers with teacher training and all that 9 yards. And I can do a long story, but just for context, I have a huge following as an artist, which is different from the piano community. And there is a little bit of a disconnect there between the socials and what I do in school. And Joseph pointed that, and I'm like, it's just too confusing to start explaining to Joseph right now. But real quick, piano has always been part of my life. I grew up as a classical pianist with concerts all over the world and everything. And I've always been teaching as a side income. Left my parents' house when I was 13 and had to support myself somehow. So I started teaching and fell in love with it and always been with me. And it's like a very dear to me. I have so much to give. I can pretty much teach anyone playing the piano. My youngest student was 3. My oldest was 92. And I can get somebody from a complete newbie and turn them into a classical pianist in 30 days. And I'm not saying that lightly. Have done it and I'm doing it and I love it. And my piano community is super fun place for me to hang out every day. It's not paid. It's free for now. I'm gonna keep it free. And it's not for now. It's free. I'm gonna add probably some like other things to it, paid or whatever, because I like money. Money is a really good tool, and I have good, powerful, big dreams with a lot of compassion, and they're driven by growth and contribution. And I'm gonna make them happen no matter what, one way or another. And I'm working on them daily, even though when I don't feel good, like today, I felt like shit, but I made this meeting. I saw this in the last minute. Joseph commented, "Oh yeah, it's whatever. See the video." I saw the video, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I probably missed it," but I didn't. So here we are, and happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to just work with you as well, Rosita. And like you have such a compelling, interesting story. Your social footprint's really cool and completely different than what you're
Yeah,
trying to do on Skool.
yeah,
And I think that is interesting. And there's
yeah.
different ways to play with that situation. Like we could be different in different contexts. Because you clearly like both. It's just a matter of like figuring out your verticals financially and like winning in one space at a time and then eventually having the whole
That's
ecosystem
the
expand.
that's the key. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I realized that in the past couple of years that when you dream so big, you gotta focus on one thing at a time, chip it in, make it happen, make the machine work, then move to the next one and just like follow your dreams after that. Everyone one by one it's happening. And for the social media, yeah, it is a big difference when you first glance at it. So but if you actually look through the feed, I always throw in some classical
Yeah.
piano. People are like, what the heck, and I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I have this piano community thing. And there's few people here, but like out of this huge following, I would think that at least 500 people would join right away, but not really. It's not like that. So I learned that too. But yeah, I do throw in classical piano. I also throw in classical piano in my techno DJ set sometimes. It depending on the venue and how the promoter allows what to bring. And I would just bring a big ass keyboard at the DJ stage, and I would just like start jamming. And people who have not been familiar with me, they're like, "What is happening right now?" So it's kind of cool, kind of new, and also sets me apart, from all the other millions of DJs. So it's a long process, but I'm okay with it because it's the journey, not the destination. I'm super happy and grateful to be able to do everything I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to track with you and see how
Thank you.
things progress. Yeah, it's beautiful what you're building. And I'm a musician as well. I'm dying a little on the inside because like we've moved so much that all of my gear is in boxes. It's just one of the sacrifices necessary to co-live with in-laws right now. but I'm excited for when we're set up with a home and I could have my basement again and have it all rigged so I can play. So
Like a man cave.
I know, I miss it. It'll be fun.
What do you play?
I play bass, acoustic, electric, guitar, keyboard. I'm like very intermediate at piano. I know chords. And
Cool.
then drums is like the most natural one. Like I could play anything on drums because it's rhythmic. And then
Right.
bass was the first one I learned. And then I sing as well. I haven't done any production or recording. I started in different houses of worship at churches. And then I started to pick up other like secular music that I enjoy as well. So like Chili Peppers,
Wow.
Linkin Park, all that kind of fun. A lot of like indie pop alternative. So I
Yeah,
miss it.
you're in. Yeah, well, the thing is that once you start playing an instrument, it depends on the instrument, but if it's a more complicated instrument, like piano, for example, you move on to other instruments pretty quickly. So I play a
Yeah.
shit ton of instruments that I've never taken lessons,
Yeah.
and it just comes naturally.
Yeah. It for me, like everything's built off of bass. Like getting into once I learned chords, it was a whole new world for me. And then I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I'm excited to see kind of where I go next in these spaces. Oh, saxophone. That's like what I want. That'll be the coolest thing to just be able to rip on solos there because saxophone, in my opinion, is one of the coolest instruments that I don't play.
Yeah, I love sax.
Excellent. And Sarah, do you want to intro and then we'll hop in? I know you love these introductions so much. You're so good at it.
Ah, shit. I'm a mom of 7. We're all neurospicy. We live out in the middle of nowhere on purpose. We've got chickens and animals and all that jazz. Background context. I've built businesses from scratch to 6 figures, online, community based, with tangible products and without. And currently, I am on Skool, and Diana and I were talking about this. She gave me a good idea. I'm still like trying to figure it out because I don't resonate with the term business coach, even though that's what I am. And she gave me the line. She's like, maybe it's I'm the business coach. No, when you think you need a business coach or you need one, but you don't really want one, that's when we should chat. Like, because I don't move and operate the same way that the business coaches do, but I help people take the next right step in a fun manner, like have some fucking fun and do the next thing and to keep moving forward because a lot of people get stuck in the messy middle. And I work with a lot of people that are neurospicy and multi-passionate. So that's
Beautiful.
me.
Yeah, you're getting fast and succinct with it. It's good. Keep making you work it. So first of all, I want to step back as we start this webinar and just say how humbling it is to have you all on this call and to connect with you because you're all so multi-gifted in so many different contexts. And a lot of the challenges I ran into as a community builder initially was this idea that you need like one simple, clean, ideal, perfect avatar. And then you give them one compelling, perfect offer. And then everyone's the same. And you just drive traffic like crazy to serve that one person. And for me, especially like within my career advancing surgical robotics, I love working across diverse giftings and individuals with different passions and finding a common framework for people to progress, even if their journeys all look different. Like we have musicians, we have business coaches, we have community builders, we have creatives, we have a doctor on this call. And I think it's wonderful to just see how we can all show up in our unique giftings and learn how to build the life we desire, living where we want, loving what we do, and being paid well for it, and to kind of break across some of those molds. So you are kind of a product of this grand experiment in this community. To actually get this many interesting different people on a call together has been a labor of love for me over the last year. And I'm excited to do these more often if this is valuable to you and valuable to future members of the community. So we'll start with that. So we're going to jump into the life of Joe, and then I'll get into the Big Brain Club, and let's just start rocking because we have, I don't know, 35 minutes or so. So let me see if I can share. I made slides. I'm leveraging slides. Let me swap this. Okay, cool. Can you see like this little robot guy? Because I've lost visibility to all of you. Just someone say yes. Ooh, that's a bad sign.
Yes, we can
Oh,
see.
you all just were slow. Okay, let me go back into it. I was like, I shared PowerPoint and it broke my audio. This was a pitch I gave at a Tokyo startup institution around humanoid robotics. We're not going to talk about humanoid robotics today. But initially, this was where I started from what I was doing online. If I help engineers, global leaders, and entrepreneurs find their way, this is a little bit different to where I am now. If I ask the right questions in order to help people become the hero of their own story, where they could build the life they desire, living where they want, loving what they do, and being paid well for it. That's who I am now. But this is the life of Joe. This is my family. This is my wife, Felicia, my daughter, Akari, Emiko, Akio, or this is Akio. The baby was born in Japan, and Hezekiah. And I spent a decade progressing surgical innovation at Johnson & Johnson as a left brain person, both as an engineer, and then eventually I was directing front-end innovation from Japan, traveling the region. I attended 30 plus surgeries across a wide range of surgical specialties, and then I led an ecosystem of 32 global innovators, whether they were engineers, clinical folks, medical affairs, marketing. Like, I love working across diverse giftings to build and accomplish things together. And we made some really cool AR and VR tech during that. And then in my personal life, which is kind of fun, in addition to being a present father of 4, I've done content creation for 5 years in parallel. So I moonlit all of my content creation. I've done over 2,000 videos and built a rather large following. And I hit this crazy point in my life where I decided to take a jump and go all in on entrepreneurship. And it was informed by this lovely map that I drew for my son. So I have a really global, like deeply global personal perspective because our family moved 12 times in 1 year to get to Japan. I drew this for him when we were planning on only doing 4 moves, and I wanted him to understand where his PS4 would be. So, like, his PS4 would go from our house in Cincinnati into a shipping container, and then that would go on a boat across the ocean, and then it would arrive at our home in Futaku Tamagawa. And this was how I was trying to provide my son stability in the transition, was him being able to play Crash Bandicoot. And it was supposed to take 20 days for us to move internationally. And it ended up taking a ton of different moves based on the job being started, the job being killed because of COVID, being reoffered to us selling our house, moving into a temporary apartment. Borders were closed because of COVID twice, a massive bed bug infestation that led us into multiple hotels and with family. Like, the trauma we've navigated across multiple moves is outlandish. And there was this crazy point in our journey. Here, I'll stop sharing at this point so I can just chat with you. There's this crazy point in our journey where after 2.5 years on a global assignment that was supposed to be 3 to 5, organizational constraints killed the job. And they're like, well, now you have to move back to the US to a completely different state in New Jersey. And as beautiful as New Jersey is, we have no connections there. And we had just had our 4th son in Japan. And we started asking these crazy questions of, like, what would it look like if we took this jump, if we bet on ourselves, if we continued life in Japan? And we drew this crazy, allow this time. Oh, cool. Your faces are all small and fun. If I go into the classroom. And by the way, this is interactive. So if you ever have any questions, you could fire it off and interrupt me. If I go into this module, something I added here was this diagram that changed our life in a lot more ways than I can still fathom, where we started to ask ourselves, if we bet on ourselves, what could life look like beyond Johnson & Johnson and beyond this safe expat rotation where they paid for all of our schooling and all of our housing and all of our international tax liabilities. And I had seen a J&J senior leader come into a new role and almost brag about having moved 19 times in the last 4 years on behalf of the business. And for me, while that showed his global perspective, I saw that destabilizing the family unnecessarily over a long period of time. And I wanted nothing to do with that life. So we started finding these deep whys. Like, for me, I wanted stability for my kids to continue their relationships and their international schooling. I wanted momentum. We had moved so many times to get to Japan. I didn't want to go back to the States to try to work another job to then boomerang back to life in Japan as we had planned. I wanted continuity of my friendships because I had started to connect with really interesting business leaders that were putting their kids in international schooling and paying cash for it. They weren't dependent on a company to put their kids into these educational experiences the way that I was. So I started to believe that I could actually build a business that's successful. And after 10 years, I wanted an immediate transition from J&J because they continued to move me laterally and they weren't paying me equitably, even though I was getting incredible opportunities and experiences in my role. And finally, like, I loved my life here. And my wife had very similar ones and a couple different. And then we also listed out all of our fears and all the risks associated with what a jump like this would take. And after agonizing over this for months, we made this choice to quit Johnson & Johnson. It was the most powerful, most confusing, most terrifying choice I've ever made in my life. And it didn't work out. Like, if you've continued to work through the onboarding, like, we hit zero after 7 months. Our revenue did not exceed our burn rate as expats, and we had to pull our kids out of international schooling in order to get a tuition reimbursement back so that we could pack up our whole life for $20,000 and ship it across the ocean and restart with the in-laws in Chicago. And we've been here for 7 months. And I've gone between all in on job hunt and all in on community building. And I've flipped flop across that multiple times. So we're still in a messy predicament. And now I'm getting like job offers and opportunities and trying to figure out how to do this business in parallel to getting my family stability, medical, cash flow in a way that we haven't had, because I've gone 11 months without a paycheck, which is unfathomable to me. I've drained my 401k that I built over 10 years, and it's awesome. It's messy, but it's awesome. And that's kind of the experience we've been on as I've continued to grow as a community builder. So when we look at what's going on here and kind of the origin story of this community, which I've shared a couple times, I'm going to scoot all your little faces to the side so I can see. I often go into analytics to tell the story of this group, and we can see exactly when Sarah joined. I'm just kidding, but kind of. But in the very, this is like a heat map. Most of you are community builders, so this is actually fine. Where I track daily activities to see what's going on here. And this whole band, this was called One-on-One with the Pretentious Engineer. I had a following on YouTube. I thought I could just make a community about people coming to have greater proximity to me, and that would be valuable. I was doing like value drop posts here, and it was dead inside. And this was also the season of me going all in on entrepreneurship and thinking I could launch a business and have it be profitable on this platform from everything I'd heard from the Skool games and other things. And there's just a lot of assumptions that caused me to completely tank in this space. But eventually in February, we started to experiment a little bit with the idea of the Big Brain Club and decentering it from me and really highlighting or elevating these different brains and these individuals that were all multi-gifted, multi-passionate, trying to intentionally build a life. Originally, I had people go through a 10-day challenge on learning how to quit their job. And a lot of people here didn't need to quit their job. Like, they had a good job, or they were already entrepreneurs. They were already moonlighting things on Skool. And over in this area in April, we actually had things start to awaken where we did the Big Brain Game Challenge. And those games are still kind of progressing. We started to have some crazy activities, and we started to rank on Discovery. New people started joining. We got first paying members, which is humbling. And that led to the launch of the Big Brain Club Pro, where I do weekly office hours similar to this. I bring in a guest keynote once a month, and that's pretty much it. Like, it's a super simple paid community built on top of the free community. But part of it is, in this area, we shifted how we communicate the value of this group, which I think most of you have seen the about page. But I started to realize there's these special brains here that all want to get their life in the green. You have the engineers and global leaders, the creatives and community builders, the parents and entrepreneurs. And I've dabbled across all 6 of these during my journey. And I wanted to create space for everyone, because the very first person who paid and joined Pro was a creative. And I was like, whoa, I'm immediately excluding them if instead I'm focused on making this a space just for engineers. So that's a little bit of the why on how we got to the Big Brain Club. And the goal is to help everybody have a standard assessment and approach and personal accountability to actively building their life and getting it in the green, where they have greater definition, greater clarity, and a greater communal experience. So let me side screen this again. And before we jump into the Find Your Next and other content, is there any thoughts, questions? Is this helpful? I got a smile. Okay, I'll just keep running with it. So for the Find Your
I've
Next,
got something to
yeah,
say.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
It has like nothing to do with what you're talking about, but it
Yeah.
just popped in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna remember this to throw it in a post to him. But why? Since you said you have questions, I
Yeah.
might well throw it here at you. You should take your at least one guitar out. You know what I mean? It's not like a piano sitting in a storage that's been wrapped in paper, like in wrapping things and all that. You should like get your guitar and spend some creative time with your instrument and have it and maybe inspire your children as well. You know what I mean? It's a guitar. You can just take it anywhere. I literally crossed the entire America and the entire Europe with a guitar, which is like, the keys that you, without the case or anything, just strapped on my front when I went on a tour in 2019. Anyway, I don't want to take the time here from your workshop, but like, there's no excuse not to get your guitar out and boost it out tonight.
Yeah, it's right over there. It's in the corner. I just haven't pulled it out of the corner. So that would be,
Easy.
I will hold myself accountable. I'll do a Loom video of me noodling through something on guitar and I'll post it.
Great.
So
Sorry
thank you
for the
for that.
interruption.
No, you're helping me build the life I desire, because in entrepreneurship, I've had to lean towards optimizing my time towards building the group and doing the work. And then that pulls me out of the creative context at times because you're always prioritizing and shuffling. So
think of it as meditation, where it's your time you focus and center or get into your core. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I will do that today. That'll be beautiful. And I'll record a little Loom for all of you.
I'll follow up on that with you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll sing. We'll see how I'm feeling. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, I was going to go through the method of Find Your Next, but I think all of you, except maybe Nick, have done it. Not to call Nick out in any way. So rather than kind of going through the tool, there's been a lot of adjustments. I've redone the onboarding for it, which is for other people. I'm just curious if anyone would want to share some insights they gleaned from the activity, despite the imperfections. I've done a lot of changes, so you don't have to throw shade on what was bad with it. But if there's anything that it helped prompt or help you in your journey, we'll kind of walk through this naturally, organically. I won't call on people, though. I'll let you all decide. Evan, if you're talking, you're muted. Anyone? Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, is this regarding the assessment?
Yeah. So I realized like everyone on this call has actually done the Find Your Next assessment in the classroom,
Yes.
so I don't have to do like an onboarding walkthrough for it. So I was just curious if it was valuable or helpful or something that kind of brought up that you weren't thinking of before going through that journey.
Yeah, it was extremely helpful. I think more in the cathartic sense, and oh God, this is just like a flow of thought, but yeah, I think the reason why I gravitated towards you and why I decided to go ahead and proceed with the pro program is just compared to at least the community owners that I've encountered, there's just such a holistic sense about you that I really appreciate. So that stuck out to me, and it was nice to go through those prompts and really acknowledge that there are just multiple parts to this whole whether it's been, well, I'm training myself to remind myself there are wins and there are like learns, no losses, but just I feel like I've been actively pushing back these troughs within these valleys, and it was very helpful to just face it and just really it was like a mini radical acceptance sort of activity, which was nice to face that. Yeah, anyway, that's it.
No, that's really helpful. Yeah, I was very intentional with the hills and valleys, and I've changed the language, so some of you that did it earlier, I've provided a bit more context on what that meant. But I think facing the pain points is so important to process like where we're getting stuck or where we're not necessarily using the right processes that could be more optimal in the journey. And I'm really glad that you found it kind of helpful to do that deep work, because we're often just moving forward so quickly, especially as we're figuring out how to build a community and juggle family and have a day job in your case as a practitioner. It's difficult to take that pause. And I've been trying to compress that journey, but still create the space for journaling. So I'm so glad you found it helpful, Cassandra.
No, thank you for making it. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other thoughts from the journey? And nice to see you, Nick. We're like mid-workshop, but welcome. Nick's joining us from Ukraine, I believe. If you want to do a quick intro, you can. We could pause for a second if you want to say hey.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm sorry I'm late for the workshop because like I didn't have electricity and communications down. Like I have all that war and stuff things around me, so that's kind of military reason why I'm not able to attend at some point. So I had a question. Will you have recording?
Yeah,
Of
it is
this?
recording. Yeah, I can send you the full call as well so you can catch up if it's helpful.
Oh, great, thank you. Well, it's like 15 minutes left, so I'd rather like listen to you and like everything you have here. We will still be able to communicate inside the school, and like we still have community conversations. So
Yeah,
I'd,
of
I'd
course.
rather like learn about like people around about community. So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I'm glad you're here. And yeah, I'll send the recording out probably this Sunday for the next episode of Sunday Sips. So that should be
Oh,
helpful.
thank you.
Excellent.
Glad to see every one of you.
Excellent. Nice to see you as well, Nick. So we're kind of midway through this. We're working through the Find Your Next assessment with which most folks have done, except the two Nicks, which is funny. I think you're partway through it, Nick. Probably yes. And then I want to walk through the pro tips, which is kind of a step beyond, and why I've pulled these together. And then we'll go into the Big Brain Club Pro as well. So let me see if I can do this. Move you to the side. Excellent. And we'll run 10 minutes over because we started 10 minutes late. So we'll go until, for my time, like 10:10. But if you go into the classroom and then jump into Find Your Next, I think all of you, a good portion of you, have navigated this sense of belonging and interconnection. There's a new video called Context that walks through the Big Brain Master Plan and exactly what we do in Lite, what we do in Pro, or how to go one-on-one with me if there's different areas where I could provide value to you in your community. And then people could do the assessment and bring a friend. And then I love this term IFU as an engineer. When we're developing products for clinicians, we spend a ton of time giving them instructions for use. And then a lot of times they still don't read it and they do use the product however the heck they want, which is there's a risk profile associated with that, which is fun for us as engineers. But there's a couple pro tips I want to draw your attention to. You could work through these in your own time. The first of which just goes through how to leverage your Find Your Next as a change log for your life, and how to keep your life in front of you as you build it with intention. So a beautiful example of this, besides myself, I won't highlight myself, is if you go to Find Your Next and look at Karen's. Let me scroll down a bit. Karen is a clinical psychologist living in Dubai. Really remarkable human. I connected with her through Calvin Hollywood's group as well. I'll find it. I realized I could have just searched for it. But she has over 100 comments on here, and she does a great job at actively adding timestamps. Let me scroll past me, like timestamps and updates on what she's doing to build, pulling people in from time to time. Like she's become a pro user of this tool, which has become really helpful for her as she's trying to figure out how to build her business and community on Skool in parallel to juggling her clinical practice and being present as a mother as well, which it seems like a lot of us are navigating that trifecta, which is an area I'm deeply passionate about. So the first pro tip is just to approach things as a change log, and a tool is only as useful as the frequency with which you use it. So it's been designed with intention for me to be able to do quick check-ins with folks on it, or for you to continue to add updates and wins or questions and tagging people into it. And just a quick reminder on Skool, like your Find Your Next isn't always visible to other people in the community unless they just go to the all and then see whichever one's on top based on what's pinned. Or if you add, oh, Barnabas hit 100. Good for Barnabas. If you comment on it, it keeps driving it to the top of the feed. But if there's people you specifically connect with here that you think would want to be part of your journey, if you tag them on a comment with a timestamp, it helps you get quick feedback loops going on different things you're working on. So that's kind of a pro tip for it. And that touches a little bit into tag friends, which is pro tip 2, on just how to bring people along with you in the journey so you have some accountability. And rather than tagging everybody, which becomes spammy, I'm the only one that's allowed to be guilty of that in this community. If I think there's something for all the parents or all the entrepreneurs, sometimes I will tag all. I suggest that you navigate other people's Find Your Next to build relationships and provide value to them first, and then bring them into your story as well. That's the best way for it to be a mutual exchange of insight. And then design review is kind of this third pro tip that I want to get people to the point of that I do a lot of in this group. So if I pull up my Find Your Next. So when I have a big moment, something that comes up, an area where I need a lot of feedback, I need a lot of big brains around what's going on, I will often make a Loom video and share an update and ask for feedback. So this was some digital ethnography work. I was trying to figure out like what's the greatest pain point in this community, and a lot of people ripped apart the initial onboarding flow, which didn't make sense and was distracting and wasted their time. And I got some great engagement there. There's other ones where I've had like 20 comments from people on different pieces. Like this community has been co-built through a series of intentional design loops. And as you're all community builders, you could totally do this within your own communities as well to walk up on it. And recently I did an even longer video update somewhere where I kind of went in depth around what I'm navigating with notifications and job hunt and other challenges like this. And there's still a backlog of comments I actually have to work through, which is fantastic. So I'd encourage you to do intentional design reviews based on something incredibly specific, like ruthlessly simple because folks are busy. This is my about page. Does this section make sense to you initially? Or here's my VSL. I'm trying to communicate this. Is it clear? And just allow candid feedback, because that's going to allow you to experiment with your life much faster and win. But it's not as fruitful if you just do a design review and post at the bottom without bringing in the right people. So you have to interconnect to be able to get that test bed of thought around what you're building towards. But that's what makes the interconnection culture of this group really cool. So I want to kind of highlight that. Pro tip 4 is the Big Brain Club's not the only place on Skool that's cool. So there are certain communities I trust that you're welcome to explore. Eventually I'll add more little by little. These are communities that I'm a part of and have experienced value from in some capacity, and this will expand. Thank you, Cassandra. So I would definitely highlight that. And eventually as people launch their own offers and I'm connected with them, this will create kind of like affiliate links as well, which will be fun. So if you're looking for, like AI content creation, Barnabas is your guy. And I have a little video of context. It's a short 2-minute Loom on like, this is what I've specifically gotten out of this group. Here's a link to join. So that's something that could be helpful. The big brain games, I'm not going to touch on too much today, but I'm trying to create a competition between 3 different groups within this community: the nerd brains, the cool brains, and the wizard brains. And there's a point system for if you complete your Find Your Next, if you bring in friends, if people move up to pro. I'm still tracking it, but it's actually become a little bit tedious. So this might change in the future, but you're still welcome to look through it. This is really helpful when we were first growing in the range of 50 to 80 members. And now that we're up to 140, I haven't figured out how to manage this in parallel yet. So you're still welcome to explore it. And then for pro, this is for individuals that just need more bandwidth from me and more investment of my time. I'm in a season of 99 plus on top of trying to land a global leadership job within medtech. So I do weekly office hour calls once a week. Right now they're in US mornings. I might start to alternate between evening and morning to be inclusive of other global people in this community. And then I bring in one killer keynote per month that helps everybody push their life forward. If you want to join pro, there's links to join through affiliate links of members of this community. So if a friend brought you in, then you just click here to join. And if we go to the community right now, it is available for $10,000 a month because I lock access to it. So I only let folks in for a couple-day window at the end of the month. So I will fix this. By the way, I don't want you to have any pressure to have to do this right now. If we go, I'm going to open it until the end of May, which is 2 days. So if we click over here, current price, ta-da, it's live. And then I do a 50% affiliate as well on this group. So there are actually a lot of members that are gaining value through the group. Let me make sure it worked. Yeah, so it's $100 a month, do one call. And then the guest speakers are pretty awesome. I've done 2 of them so far. The third one coming up is going to be well, let me talk about the first 2 I did. I had Pancake Princess, who was a full-time food blogger. She's been fantastic. And then I had Shulin, which is like one of the best engineers I've crossed paths with in medtech, which has been fantastic, kind of hearing all of his thoughts and feedback and the challenges he's had in his career. And then these are available for annual members. But then if you're on monthly, you could attend the next calls that happen. So the next one coming up, I don't even know if I've put it on here yet. It'll be in the first week of June. This is she's got 20 years of experience in leadership at J&J. She's led across multiple global contexts, and she moved from the C-suite towards clarity. So she's doing executive coaching now and traveling and just bringing about joy and refreshment and how people approach their vocation. She led like a $1.5 billion portfolio, which is wild. And I worked in really close proximity with her on digital surgical solutions. So super excited for that. That should be a lot of fun. And then let's go through more pro tips. Let's see, we're close on time. I've never done this before, and this is an experiment. So thank you all for being part of this. For some of you who haven't made any money online, which I actually don't know how many are here, I also am creating the structure for affiliate growth operating, where you don't have to have a large following, but you could bring a few folks into the Big Brain Club Lite. And then when Pro launches, you could move them into Pro because there's an affiliate commission of 50%. So if you get 3 members into Pro, then it becomes profitable. And then you could continue to just connect people into it if it's valuable for you. So there's a little bit of context here. I don't think any of you need to start a Skool community because all of you have Skool communities, but there's a way to start a community if that's helpful to you. And then for some of you that are looking for like more high touch point with me, like a weekly call with me one-on-one to really accelerate whatever you're building towards that life. This goes in depth with how I do discovery work for clients, so that we could focus on getting a quick win and have some collaborative implementation of solutions together. And then deeper partnerships like based on results-based milestones and project pacing. And then I work with a very select group of people for this as well. And this goes through like all of my skills across all 6 of the brains. And then I have an interactive CV that also has a virtual portfolio of all the work I did progressing innovation from Japan. So if you want to know more of my story and like my capabilities, you could even just go on one-on-one to kind of explore and play around with it. And then the last pro tip is if you want to be on a podcast, I'm working on getting this off the ground. I've done a couple episodes. If you're looking for a great digital asset, this could be of help and service to you as well. But that is everything that I have. Oh, I have the magic tips at the end, the big 3, and then we can do questions until this thing kicks us off. Scoot you over here. Okay. So the 3 principles that you could kind of build, I'll say, your life by. The things that I have found across all the relocations, exiting a corporate career, moving into full-time entrepreneurship, moving back into a hybrid of entrepreneurship and a full-time role, assuming I land something soon, is the idea of diligent, incremental progress. And it has taken me years to figure this out and a lot of pain. But the reality that the shortest path is often just the hardest path. The longest path is chasing ease. So if we look at content creation, I didn't hit my first viral video that went over 1 million until I did 137 videos. And each one of them was a grand experiment and a mess to figure out who I am in a digital context and how I communicate and what's valuable. And even after that first one, I continued to refine the craft and just approach it with intention. And the intention is what the diligence is all about, like continuing to show up for yourself every day, continuing to leverage the Find Your Next assessment. It's also messy. Yes, Sarah, always on brand. But the reason I love incremental is because we're often looking for a shortcut, a fast path with no iterations. Even when I built this community, when I made my about page, I didn't want to record 12 different VSLs and rework the copy 20 plus times with brutally honest feedback from multiple folks. When I updated my LinkedIn to try to start to attract global leadership opportunities, I didn't want to have to keep refreshing what was pinned as posts and how I was engaging with other individuals and telling my story. as an innovator and a father. But it's having this incremental mindset allows you to break through the stickiness of not doing anything, because you just think, how could I start small and keep showing up with those small actions, and then trust that the progress will eventually give you the swoop where you get your little J hook and things work. So for you, as you're building your communities, as you're building your life, I'd encourage you to approach it with a level of diligence. Actually, your story is the reason I'm here. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate that. I'm really excited to get to know your story as well. How many iterations you've made in the last 10 months. It's wild, but it's so uncomfortable because we want to be perfect the first time.
I
And
mean,
if, oh, go ahead. Yeah,
it's mostly traumatic. I mean, it's like trauma over trauma, grimmest things which may happen to human. I mean, like, if you want to get PTSD, I can tell a story, but I'm not sure that's like kind of you're able to enjoy. So,
Mhm.
uh, so I'd rather stick to your
Yeah.
stories.
I appreciate that, Nick. Key is to learn how to enjoy learning because it's uncomfortable and pushes the growth edges. Yes, like we have to push into the edges. So that's the first one, is to keep your life in front of you and build it diligently, incrementally, and to have a mindset of progress. And a big part of it, I'm going to change. I had notes of what my big three are, but I'm going to cheat. I'm going to change one of them. Yeah, I'm only going to give you three. I'll kick out the other one. The other one is to chase. You're going to hate this. Failure. I mean, Nick probably knows something about this with like running ultra marathons and lifting. Like if you want to get strength and growth, you have to find your edges, and you have to break in some capacity. And with anything entrepreneurial, with even me learning how to be present as a father across time zones and across all of these moves and all these changes, like you have to burn through as many iterations and as many failures as possible to actually get something that's sticky and good. Trial and error is the key to evolution. Yeah, I think actually Nick inspired one of the last Sunday sips of just like being open to doing 100 iterations on something. And 100 iterations implies 100 failures, or at least 99, right? Until something sticks and is good. So even though it's creating progress, you get to progress through failure and chasing that and celebrating that. It's the quickest ways to find out the inner work you need to work through. Yes. Oh, I've done so much inner work. Okay, let me choose which of the two I want to pick. These are both so good. All right. I'm going to say increase the time horizon of success. If you continue to make diligent incremental progress, if you continue to keep your life in front of you, if you continue to keep showing up, if you keep chasing failure, and you just stay in it longer than anybody else, it'll work. Like, I think there are still products you could develop that nobody wants. There are still failures that are going to happen. But if you keep iterating and just increase what success looks like from a time horizon perspective, it will come together. How do you define success? Oh, that's another workshop. That's a whole another workshop. Um, for me, on the fly, in our last kind of lingering thoughts, in my life, I'm trying to integrate a few things. We have dad life. I got husband. I'm going to say, I'm running out of room. We'll call this missional impact. Leveraging my gifts and experiences to serve in some capacity, whatever that looks like. It could be making a robot. It could be building a community here of big brains that goes out and changes the world. It could be writing a book, missional impact. And then I will say this last one is time dash presence. And many aspects of this are built through wealth. Creates time. I'm trying to get, where the heck is the middle of this circle? Right there. That's what success looks like for me in this current season of being fully present as a father, present with my wife and having experiences. There's definitely a season of months and years of deep work we have to do to heal from what we've navigated. And part of that does come through like having medical expenses, or like medical looks like success right now for us. Landing a job where I can lead and advance innovation looks like success. Having this community flourish and self-ascend folks into pro, but also like to be deeply valuable in the light. That's success. And all this will start to give me more choice in this space on where I could bring in different partners and build team so that I could have my core experiences focused on missional impact, being a father and being a husband. But again, success is defined differently from person to person. Each big brain here is trying to build a different life. So again, it's a workshop, I guess. We could think about that. Nick, how do you define success?
I look. It will again sound like horror or something, like make it alive from like the situation where I am in, because I'm kind of in a death danger.
Yeah.
I'm hearing artillery like doing artillery stuff over there behind my window, so
Yeah.
and I'm combining like all together, including entrepreneurship, building on products, being useful to people around, to my relatives, to my friends, to my cats, and like survive all this.
Yeah.
Make it out alive. So it's kind of will be short-term success for me.
Yeah.
In long run, it will be probably different. I think it's the matter of time. Where you are getting to the point, and after the point, you're thinking like, probably I could get even more successful. But for that, you need another roadmap. You need another kind of approaches, solutions, and knowledge.
Yeah, and I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Nick. I mean, I don't know anyone else in this community that's living in an active war zone trying to build their life. So like it's incredibly impactful what you're navigating, and heavy. And for everything I've navigated, yeah, like even with all my moves and transitions with my kids, I still can't imagine being on the edge of what you're doing. So we're so glad you're here.
The thing is that even such grim shit is handleable. I mean, like there is even if odds are critical, you can make things out, and it happens around all the time. Like people around are finding solutions. They're moving to safe places, or probably they are kind of pushing back. They like joining probably military or doing some military stuff, like from the place where they are. So it's like there is a huge variety of ways out from even such like critical situations. Just like concentration and power are needed for all of this.
Well, thank you, Nick, for just being part of this community's journey and sharing your story in whatever way works.
I'm super glad to be with you. And like, yeah, thank you for like DMing me in LinkedIn and like sharing everything you have. I'm happy to be the part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for more people to connect around you and your story as well in the club. But friends, I think this is the first workshop. I hope this was helpful for all of you. This was, again, a grand experiment. I see some nods. And thanks, mate. Of course. Yeah. Thank you all for being part of what I'm building and how I'm trying to serve my family and serve this community in this new crazy season of life. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You're probably better off DMing me than tagging me at this point, just based on how I'm navigating kind of a flood of input from folks. But really excited to see what you can all build and happy to be a part of your journey. And feel free to bring some friends to the club if that's the only simple call of action I could think of. But yeah, we are under a minute, so I'm going to end it before Google kills it because that seems more nice. But thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Yep. Keep changing the world.